So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable. And then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. A very good morning and a warm welcome to you all. I request all the dignitaries to proceed onto the dais. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you all to the valedictory function of the 9th International Conference on Challenging Technologies and Changing Business Paradigm towards Sustainability in the 21st Century, conducted by Marine Institute of Management in association with Lincoln University, St. Xavier's College, Arab Open University, and Mahatma Gandhi.
It's my privilege to welcome our distinguished Assistant Professor, Mr. Samson Thomas, who is an experienced faculty in management, life coach, motivational speaker, and always a mentor to us. Let me invite you, sir, for the welcome address.
Good morning, one and all. Sorry. Honorable Chief Guest of this valedictory function, Group Captain Babu Joseph, who is an independent director and technology consultant. Our very beloved director, Dr. Murali Valavan sir, Dr. Joshija, who is a coordinator, conference coordinator for this international conference. At the outset, let me tell you, this is the beginning of an end of this 9th international conference, which has done a lot of deliberations, a lot of discussions, and maybe knowledge dissemination by presenting a lot of papers. So the kind of learning process which has happened through this kind of exercise is splendid, or it is very, very high, and it has made a lot of our students also be enriched with a lot of latest advancements as well as updations on sustainability also. So yesterday, a lot of speakers came through maybe into this conference and spoke on sustainability. So when we speak about sustainability, we should not speak more in terms of we should wind up the meeting as soon as possible, because the use of power as well as other things, amenities here should be minimized. That is one of the concerns when we speak about sustainability. My job here is to welcome all the dignitaries here in this valedictory function. We have with us the valedictory chief guest, who is an eminent person who is experienced with all the ins and outs what's happening in our defense, knows much about defense management, will be sharing what is happening there, the management style, the way of managing in terms of defense, especially Air Force, who is a group captain and right now is a consultant and independent director of companies also. So this let me take this opportunity to welcome Group Captain Sri Babu Joseph sir. Welcome, sir. No need of an introduction or no need of using any cliches or any kind of additional adjectives or adverbs. But still, we are all familiar with our very beloved director who is spearheading the institution and making maybe quantum leaps in terms of quality and in terms of academic progress in Marine Institute of Management. So let me welcome Murali Valavan sir to this august function. I must tell you one thing, the whole event, international conference on sustainability, challenging technology, all these things, it happened just because of two individuals primarily. One is Dr. Joshija Jose, another person is Dr. Arun Shankar. The effort and the pain and the strain which they have put in to make this conference one of the best conferences, bringing in a lot of papers, bringing a lot of speakers and participants and all the arrangements, all the nuances, all everything. So everything done, organized. So great organizers. I must thank and congratulate those people for doing all these things. Let's give a good round of applause to the coordinators. Yes. So I welcome Joshija ma'am as well as Arun Shankar and all other faculty members who are all keen and very much involved in say paper presentation, chairs, and organizing everywhere. And I must thank all the student members also. So again, there are a lot of people who put in their heart and soul into this conference, who took a lot of effort to make this conference maybe a higher level conference. You got something, gained something, but still you put in some effort and some pain and strain into this event, organizing this event as well as conducting the event. A lot of volunteers, including Malta. And I must congratulate you all at the same time, welcome you to this August gathering again. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. We welcome you as well.
Now, let me invite Dr. T.V. Murali Vallabhan, Director, Marine Institute of Management, to introduce the chief guest of the day.
Group Captain Babu Joseph, who retired from Indian Air Force. Samson Sir, Joshija, faculty members, students, and all those who are assisting from the department, the staff members. Have you ever thought of a VIP coming on a BMW bike? BMW bike? Yes. Group Captain Babu Joseph has arrived on a BMW bike here. He's an adventurous rider also. That is military. That is defense. That is men and women in uniform. They will always perform in a different manner. Welcome, sir, very much. And as youngsters, there is also enough time after this function to ask questions about how the military is moving ahead. Before that, I shall read. During his 33 years of career in Indian defense, how he has contributed to the country, how he has secured our safety, and how we are safe till this moment. It is because of the persons like Babu Joseph that we are safe and secure. I used to repeat these terms. And as usual, from the core of my heart, when Babu Joseph was arriving here, I made it a point that I will welcome him. In fact, it is a snatching of the opportunity from the comparers. But I think it is essential that you should all know about the military personnel. That's why I'm here. See, Group Captain Babu Joseph is not single in serving the country. His wife is also serving the country, and she is retired Air Commodore, Dr. Pauline Babu. So a military family, actually. I don't know whether his children are in uniform. And he has 33 years of meritorious service in Indian Air Force, with 2 commendations by the Air Chief Marshal for his meritorious service. And he was in charge of the enterprise networks and applications, which is very much technology intensive and very much advanced in Indian Air Force. He was also in charge of the electronic warfare system, EWS, electronic warfare system. And he was the director of the defense aviation system in DRDO. DRDO means Defense Research Development Organization. He was in charge of the IT infrastructure and planning in Indian Air Force. And he was in charge of the maintenance division of the Mirage 2000 fighter planes. Am I right, sir? Mirage is fighter plane. Mirage, yes. And he was also in charge of administering missile guidance radars. These things we are all only reading in newspapers, but here is a person who has handled all these things efficiently. And I think that this will be an opportunity, of course, after his presentation and after the function also, you can interact with him. He is very free. He is very much down to earth. He is with us. He will be with us for a couple of hours after this. And if anybody is interested in knowing more about military and defense service, which is another world, because I was associated with this, which is another world entirely. And when he arrived here, he was telling that he is happy to see that a half military style of functioning in Marine Institute of Management. Thank you, sir, for the compliment. And I welcome Group Captain Babu Joseph on behalf of the Marine Institute of Management family. Thank you.
Check. Good morning, Kutikanam. Good morning, Marian. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege to be standing in front of you today in such a wonderful place, such an august gathering in a well-known, reputed college. The feelings that I got from the welcome and what our beloved director mentioned about services in general and me in particular, to do justice to what he has spoken, I will probably need a couple of days. But my time is limited, so I will go through what I have thought of that as starters. And like he said, yes, I'm available to you any length of time. I can stand here for a couple of days if you want. No problem. I thought about a title for my talk. Then I thought, okay, let me align with what is mentioned in the program, Valedictory message. I've been directed beforehand, and even otherwise, now I know it's a clear direction to me that I must speak from a soldier's point of view, and I shall do that. So when you say soldier's point of view, you may wonder, am I going to be, training at things like we look at things through a gun sight, like you can see in the picture in the slide today. Yes, whenever we do something to do with military matters, we do it very seriously and with a kind of, zero error syndrome. Okay, it is a syndrome. But we are also human beings who get to interact with the civil world. And like you all will do, we also do get to shake hands with beautiful people. The other picture in the slide. So what I'm going to speak today should be, according to my efforts, an all-encompassing aspect of this sub-subject that has been given to me. I would like to take you through these touch points. Classes of people in the world, a glimpse or a macro level overview of people in the armed forces, and some snippets of management, a comparison thereof between civil and military, civil vis-a-vis military. That V stands for, it's not versus, vis-a-vis military. And a quick reference for the ambitious managers, which I'm sure all of you are today, aspiring managers and practicing managers in the backdrop. So this is the scope of my coverage, which I've thought about in the limited time that has been given to me. After that, the forum is open. Please ask me questions. If I know the answers, you will get it immediately. And if I don't know the answer, I will come back to you with the answers. But I will answer every question that I shall be asked. All right. Since the title is Valedictory Message, I am today reminded of the message I had or we had from the head of the Department of Engineering when I was passing out way back in 1986. How many of you were born before 1986? People at the back and one line in the front. A lady by the name Professor Emmy George, very, very popular head of the department, and I was one of her favorite students as well. She told us, the parting statement from her was, now that you're going to be engineers in a month's time, go out into the world and start learning. Her message was, go out into the world and start learning. I looked at my classmates. Embarrassment was what was written, writ large on the faces of the people. What is our professor telling us? Come on, we are going to be engineers shortly. Personally, I was not embarrassed, I was hurt. I was already selected for Air Force. I knew it was a matter of time. When the results come, I send a copy of the final results and Air Force tells me where to report and what date. Raring to go. And then here is my professor telling me, start learning. 38 years later, as I stand before you today, my first message to the students today here is the same. Be prepared to go out into the world and start learning. This is not demeaning what you already have learned. You are going to build on what you have learned. And the real building, superstructure of a building starts coming up after you leave the campus. That's what she meant, but it took me some time to register what she was trying to tell us. This is also because the degree certificate, whether undergraduate or postgraduate certificate that you shall be given at the end of a successful course, is a paper license. To be known as a manager, MBA graduate, in my case, okay, as an engineer, whatever. Of course, it's a passport to a job if you're looking for a job, or if you're planning to start your own entrepreneurship. Yes, you being an MBA graduate adds to your market value, the acceptance level in the society and whatnot. But it is a certificate without a warranty. And here is the first message that I want to concentrate on. I can say this from my personal experience. During my school days, college days, engineering days, I know relatively how my friends were. Topper, mediocre student, last guy, person who took a couple of more years to pass all the papers and then became an engineer, all that. But how they performed as engineers, as individuals, as responsible people holding responsibilities in the organization or society, as fathers, husbands, fathers, and all that. it has nothing to do with their academic credentials. So there is a disconnect. So this, what I'm now telling you, is a threat as well as an opportunity. If you've been a great academic performer, does not guarantee that you will be a great success at work, and vice versa. If you have been an average performer, above average, or an underperformer, you have an opportunity to offset all that past record, disconnect from the past, and make your own life path after you leave the campus. I see a total disconnect from, I'm saying this from my FOS batch or engineering batch. So this is my assurance or my first message to you. This certificate without warranty is different from manufacturer's guarantee card you get when you buy a TV. You get a guarantee card. It says, okay, all manufacturing defects will be addressed. The university cannot give a guarantee in your case. If you don't perform good as a manager, the university is not going to compensate the employer where you work. That is why I use this word, sorry. Moving on, let us discuss classes of people in the world. This is a larger statement. It's a global statement. And this classification which I want to discuss is based on mentality, attitude, not based on anything else, not based on caste, creed, color. The first category of people, as you see this word, I'm sure you can quickly think of a few people, or you are going to meet such people in the world. There is one category called, which in management parlance, we can call them idiots. This is not referring to the IQ levels. This is referring to their mentality and attitude. There are people in the world who think the whole world exists for them. This college exists for me. My friends are for me. All these facilities are for me. And what are your duties to the society, college? What do you mean? He has no concept about it. It's a one-way traffic. There are some people. Maybe you can think of a few right now, or you will bump into them as you become a practicing manager. So this is my reference to the first category. Then we have tribals, not by birth in a particular community. Again, tribals by mentality and attitude. Tribal attitude leads to trouble. You give a tribal manager 10 people, he will create some cracks in the team. Okay, these couple of people are fair, good looking. Okay, I like them. Somebody is not so good looking, or he's from my clan, my caste, my creed. He can always find a ways and means to divide the team. And they can't, it's called blinkered version. You can't have a wide vision. Your outlook is very narrow. This is what I'm referring to when I talk about tribal mentality. So going by this definition, a politician, unless he's a statesman, is also a tribal. Unless he's a statesman. You know what a statesman is. Okay, so these are the two classes, and you find plenty of them as a percentage in the world. And then we have citizens. Citizens are conscious about what they have at their disposal. They believe the whole world is for all of us to share. If there is poverty, that should be also shared. If there is riches, that is also be shared. Place for everybody and everybody in place. We say in a different way. These are the matured people. And what the world needs is citizens. I don't have to tell you. So sometimes when you reflect on yourself, you may ask yourself, am I a citizen? Am I a tribal? Am I an idiot? Or am I a part-time idiot and a part-time tribal or a part-time citizen? This is something to be reflected upon and leaving it to yourself. I thought I must, sow this seed of this particular classification so that, it will help you as you start practicing as a manager. Switching to the people in the armed forces. The pictures are quite self-explanatory, but we'll look at the bullets. Makers of the armed forces are only the citizens. And we work the hardest to ensure that idiots and tribals don't get into the armed forces. It is only the people with citizen mentality who get picked up. Maybe I'll take another half a minute to explain that subsequently. There are certain uniquenesses about different services, some of which the director has already set the ball rolling. Who becomes an officer? Now let me restrict myself to, it's easier to cover that. Otherwise, I need more time. So primarily, we look for candidates who are above average and willing, be it for recruitment as a soldier or as an officer. There are grades. This particular statement is common. The primary requirement is your willingness, eagerness, and you should have certain level of development overall. That we will find out. If you're willing, just come forward. It is for the duty of the armed forces to find out whether you are fit or not. And don't worry about that. We have Services Selection Board, which does the selection of candidates to become officers. And this is the longest event in the country. Services Selection Board interview lasts minimum 4 days, sometimes 5 days. When I went for selection way back in 1984, because we had university entry scheme, while I was in the pre-final year of engineering, I went for selection. First job I applied for. I got selected. After that, I never filled up an application form for any job. My degree certificate went into my folder. My mark sheets of engineering went into the folder. They have never come out. God has been kind. I've been fortunate. Coming back to the Services Selection Board, we are looking for a particular type of candidates to become officers. So all I said, I'm repeating once again, if you're willing, interested, come forward, go for the selection. SSB will do its job. So if you don't get selected, there is nothing to be disheartened about. Not all become soldiers. It's only 0.1% of the Indian population who wear any kind of uniform. Others are not in uniform. But I regard all citizens of the country as soldiers in another form. So we are all soldiers of the nation in different roles and forms. So that's how it is. And I have met a lot of people who told me, sir, I did not get selected in the SSB, but my experience of 4 days of interview, it helped me a lot later for finding a job. And it helped me even in my duties as an employee elsewhere. That experience was unique. Okay, so this is another invitation to go to SSB if you have some interest. All right. So what we look for, because this is a full-fledged session, I don't have that much time to get into details, but as the director mentioned, if people are keen, we can have another session. What we look for is called OLQs, officer-like qualities. Okay, what are the officer-like qualities? How exactly we test all that, I can explain in a separate session. And the next rider, that is, when we look at a candidate, we see whether does he have the basic OLQs. And is he, when I say he, please don't, the women don't feel bad. I'm using he as a, unisex term here. Whether he is trainable and can be made an officer. Nobody is an officer on day one when we pick up somebody. He is converted to an officer. He's made and trained to become an officer. That's how it is. So the picture is, I think, explanatory. The kind of people we pick up from the campus and the country are, they look like any of us in civil dress. And post-training, you can see the people in uniform. This is how they exult after the passing out parade. You must have seen in videos, and they throw their hats up, they come down, and then they pick it up. Okay, and the hat finally goes to the owner, doesn't go to somebody else. So we train ordinary citizens to become soldiers and leaders. That is what, that's a conversion. And the conversion is the responsibility of the armed forces. Just to close this point, I would like to state that it's an entity above politics, caste, creed, and religion. The uniform is supposed to mask all these things and, treat you at par as per the protocols of the services, as per the rank, as per the stature. There is no room for whatever you are seeing in this particular bullet. No room for politics. Armed forces is above politics. It's pro-government always, no matter who is in government. No place for caste, creed, religion, based biases or anything like that. And out of my 33 years, I was on deputation to Defense R&D organization, where I, as project director, we have developed something, classified system. It is fitted and flying on all the military aircraft in the country. So since I have had extensive interaction with Defense R&D organization, defense public sector undertakings, the Indian industry, big, medium, small, micro. I take the moral authority to say, or I have no qualms in saying that armed forces is the finest organization in the country. So that was the longest I took on a slide. You know what is job description? You said JD? Do you say JD? Or you will be bumping into this term when you fill up your application form for a job, you submit your biodata. Job description is advertised at times along with the job advertisement, or I have sat in interview boards in the civil side, both in Bharat Electronics, DRDO, and some private companies I consult for. So we have a job description which may run into paragraphs and sometimes into pages. Okay, and then we see how aligned this candidate is. So when I interview a candidate, a civil candidate for a civil job, I'm only looking at it from my simple way of looking at the person is, okay, will this person make a good colleague in my organization? That is the basic reference with which the interview takes place. Anyway, we can dwell on this if I have a session on interviews. The job description of an officer, no matter he is the junior most or the senior most, no matter what is the appointment, where you are posted in the country or outside the country, the whole thing can be the widest spectrum statement is, it is in one single sentence. My duty as an officer is to assist my commander in running the unit, formation, establishment. These are, different terms used in different occasions. So let me tell you what is a unit. Okay, if it's in the army, it can be a platoon, a battalion, or a regimental center, or a training establishment, whatever. If you're in the Navy, okay, it may be a ship, it may be an offshore unit. And in the Air Force, it can be a fighter squadron or a missile squadron. And there are other signal squadrons. There are other formations also. So my duty is to assist my commander. So how do I assist? I explain it here so that later when we come to comparisons, it's easier to understand. When I go to my commander, I tell him, sir, we are in a situation. I'm just giving a hypothetical situation. Okay, here we are in a situation. I explain the situation or I explain the issue. Then I also suggest a solution. I don't go to my boss without at least one solution in my mind. Okay, meaning I'm not passing the buck. I'm not passing the monkey to my boss, which happens very often in management. I mean, in the civil I've seen. Not my problem. I don't know. I'm not trained. These are some standard excuses your colleagues will also come up with. I hope you don't do that. Okay, if you are involved in an issue, please apply your mind, think of a solution before you go to the senior. That is my point from here. So I go to my commander, I explain the situation, I suggest at least one solution. I may have 2-3 options also. He will listen me out, hear me out. It is my right that I must submit what I want to, and he has to hear me out. Having heard me out, the commander will now give his judgment. It is like judgment in a court. He may pick and choose one of the options I gave, or he may give me yet another order. And I shall abide by that order, because orders are to be taken like words coming from God. That is a kind of discipline in the armed forces. Because together we perform or together we perish, do or die. So that is the military orientation or way of looking at things. I hope I'm not sounding too serious. Don't worry. If my face looks very serious, you can keep looking at the pictures. They are more pleasant than my face. Okay, so no matter where you are a fresh pass out like young lieutenant or you are a general like the one you see at the end of your journey, the JD does not change. Macro level, not micro level. I hope that is fine. Then depending on your branch, like I am from the aeronautical engineering branch, we have 7 branches in Air Force. We have pilots, engineers, doctors, logisticians, administrators. Depending on the branch in which you are picked up, your specializations, you are in a different team. So there are additional things you will do. Whatever you do, finally it culminates or it points to your duty to assist your commander in running that place. That's how it is. There's total alignment. It's very hierarchical. That is the beauty of armed forces. I told you about trainability. Training and development is the foundation on which you will stand as long as you're wearing a uniform. If you go to Air Force formations or you read about Air Force literature, you will see this catchword very often. People first, mission always. That means we invest the largest, the highest on the people. more than the machines. Machines will remain, but it is the people which will, people are the decider. Whether we win a battle or not is decided by the people, not by the machines. So people first, mission always. This is the not a logo of Air Force. Logo of Air Force is Nabhas Prisham Deeptam, which means touch the sky with glory. And this is what is displayed as a looking window for the public to look at Air Force. People first, mission always. And this is the orientation throughout our activities. So having said this, you can imagine, okay, you grow up with services. You are aligned, tuned, you are trained, you are now happy, ready to go. Air Force or whichever organization you are in, Army, Navy, Air Force. And of course, there are paramilitary also. I'm not covering them here. You grow up with the services. That means your personal development, your attitude modifications, the way you skill yourself, the skill sets that you develop are absolutely in line with the expectations of the organizations. So together you grow. Organization helps you grow and you grow in the organization. So it's a give and take. Like I was telling Murli Vallavan sir when I met, okay, the first lesson taught to a sepoy, he may be an 8th standard pass, he may be going to be trained as a cook, but he's taught the first thing, give respect and take respect. So when we salute has two meanings. It shows my subordination to the boss. Okay, I respect you, but also I am also respectable. Only a respectable man will salute, and he returns the salute. You must have seen that. Okay, the commander will not say, okay, I like your salute. No, he will always return the salute. That means it is give and take. Okay, there are some more meanings when I do a session on armed forces. If I do, I will explain that. Okay. Sooner or later, soldiering becomes a way of life, and you get comfortable with this. And this is sometimes a problem for others. Others, when I say civilian friends after retirement, like I've only hung my uniform, but my soldier spirit has not gone down even an inch. Okay, I feel I will die a soldier, and you will. So we'll say soldier is forever. You will find a lot of examples. Okay, so I think I can close the points by saying this, what I said just now. I only hung my uniform. My soldiering continues. And the opportunity you have given me to speak and what I'm speaking is part of my personal social responsibilities to sensitize young generation, because we have to be replaced with greater military leaders as well. The country has to go on, right? The bottom line is combat worthiness. Aim is to remain combat worthy 24/7, always. Whether you are in uniform, retired, you will be replaced with another person. Everybody is replaceable. Nobody is indispensable also. That's also another truth of life. Okay, so that is the JD. Now you can see some difference, how armed forces is drifting away from the management nuances you are already familiar with, or you will be, because not all of you are about to pass out. You are in different years, first, second, third, all 3 batches are there. Okay. But what you already know, what you're going to be taught in this college, I'm not touching, because then otherwise I'll do a lot of time also. Combat worthiness is the keyword, because unlike a football match, in war, there is no prize for the runner-up. There's a statement by Sir Omar Bradley. So if you forget, okay, this is a great reminder. In war, there is no way to do a job. There is only one way, the right way. You perform or perish, do or die, karo ya maro. That's what we say in Hindi. Okay, so I will only show this pictorially, because I cannot expect you to know the details of 1948 conflict, the conflict we had, Pathans attacking Kashmir immediately after India became independent. Then we have fought certain wars, 1962 with China, 1965 Indo-Pak War, 1971. A unique war in the entire history of mankind, wherein a country has liberated another country in 14 days, hands down. Nobody has done it, not even US. It is India which did that. But 1971, probably you were in nuclear state, atomized state. So it's very old. Okay, then we have had limited military operations, plenty of them. Kargil, 99. 99 also, I think most of you are not born. Students, not maybe. Okay, if you've been reading the newspaper, you must have heard these terms. You must have read about Doklam. There we had a standoff with the Chinese troops in Doklam. Galwan Valley clashes. Pangong, so means a lake. This picture we are seeing here is a Pangong Lake. Okay, and you can see me standing by the side of this lake. This is in Ladakh. It's a beautiful destination for tour. Right month to go there is August, September, July, August, September. Maybe Marian College can plan a tour. And if you're doing that, I will meet you on my motorcycle there because it's a lovely place to do a ride also, Himalayan ride. Okay. I'll say one more thing to make the subject light. Pangong So is a beautiful lake. This is exactly how the lake looks. If you have watched the movie 3 Idiots, the last shot is shot there. And those 3 Idiots, those seats are made there. You can go and photograph yourself there. Some beauty about this lake I want to tell you. It is only at 12,000 feet above mean sea level. So you can imagine the altitude. Air is already thin there. And it's a very small lake, only 135 kilometers long. Blue color, beautiful to look at. 135 kilometers, out of which 45 kilometers are in India. The rest is in China. Okay, here you can see a line. This is the right side of this is supposed to be China. The other side is left side is supposed to be India. Here we have a dispute. And this dispute led to whatever has been happening of late. All right. So I will leave this subject at that. So even if you're not familiar with the past wars, okay, currently there is an issue. There is a standoff. We have drones flying in that area 24/7 and watching the friends in chinky uniform the other side. Okay, that's all military subject. Let me leave it here. Otherwise, I will not be able to touch the core point which I am supposed to be covering. This is also as important as duties, etiquettes and mannerisms. There are written rules, there are traditional rules, but rules are rules. So a soldier is not only during office hours, not a 9 to 6 man, unlike executives. Once you leave the office, probably you can forget the office until you hit the office next time. But we are not so. 24/7, 365 days. And I told you, soldiering has not stopped. And when Doklam happened, I'm in the reserve period. After you retire for 5 years, you are in the reserve. That means if there is a full-scale war, I may be called back to put on uniform and come to the battlefront. And when Doklam happened, I wrote to the chief, expressing my desire to join in if there is an opportunity. Of course, I never got a reply because things did not escalate. But if it was to escalate and we were to be pushed into even a limited war with my specialization, my past categorizations, there was an opportunity or there was a chance I could go back. So my reserve period ends in April this year. Only 2 more months to go. I'm feeling bad about it. But yes, if there is an action, there will be volunteering anyway. Anyway, what I'm wanted to say here is we have a very strong social fabric. That means we feel bound beyond duty hours also. And we have campus life. Respect for women is a rule and is a practice. Care for children. If you see some children in the campus, you keep an eye, naturally. You've got that soldier's mind all the time. And if you feel, okay, the children are in some kind of danger, doesn't matter whose children they are, you will go into action. That is what. So care for children is there. These are social rules. There are a lot of social rules. In social rules itself, I can spend 2 hours. We have messes where bachelors, the unmarried stay. But those places are also the club for the families. Officers' mess, airmen mess, soldiers' mess. Dress code. We follow dress codes very strictly and are most comfortable if we follow the dress code. To say the whole thing in one sentence, there is clarity about anything and everything. We are very clear about do's and don'ts. Like we say, if you have to sneeze, you know how to sneeze without irritating the people nearby, that way. Okay, I put some pictures to convey what I was verbally saying. An eye for details, that is the top right picture standing for. And okay, my own picture is there. I had removed my uniform photo and then put this. The rest of the pictures are basically to say that you continue to coexist in a community, whether you are on duty or off duty, and you are still bound by etiquettes and mannerisms. So that's about services. Now, quickly, because I've now started wrapping up, so that I know I've overshot. I suffer from verbal diarrhea, and you set the tempo in such a way that I went beyond what I had thought of speaking. Management styles. okay, you will be learning management styles in as part of your MBA. But my listing here, these couple of slides are based on my personal experiences. I'm not referring to any book. My personal experiences with the Indian industry, large, medium, small, micro, defense public sector undertakings, other public sector undertakings, DRDO, multinationals. And I was also the designated point of contact, yes, point of contact for technology collaboration with some leading countries and firms. Okay, Selex UK, Electronica Italy, Elbit Israel, and all that. So I'm just trying to sum up the management styles I have seen, and they are fairly different from the books in which you will be probably learning the management styles. So let me list them. They are my own terminologies. I have met, and you will also meet, a lot of managers who follow or keep the principles of management in their backdrop. Their subroutines are running, and in any situation, especially decision making, all the management principles he invokes and uses. And such people are considered the most stable managers. They may not be very popular, but they are, in the long run, the great managers they make. I'm limiting my discussions to decision making, the most important management function. So whether you have got, other management functions also. The most decisive, the most critical are the decision making activities. You will also come across a lot of impulsive decision makers. I'm trying to say something, halfway through that man stops and he gives his decision. He doesn't have the patience even to listen completely, because you can think faster than other person can speak. So that fellow is already biased, or he is already stereotyped, or he's already made up his mind. Some people come with a decision. They only pretend to be, getting into a discussion because, the decision is already taken. So I call them impulsive decision makers. Worst is management by whims and fancies. So if you don't have the subject expert as your boss, I hope you people don't get into that situation. But in the industry, it is so. Not everybody is MBA. Not everybody is in that domain expert. So a lot of them try to survive because the ego and the ignorance stand in the way of decision making. If I'm not the subject expert, I must have a subject expert whom I should listen to before I make a decision. Otherwise, I'm going to make a stupid decision, and it can have its own negative implications. But you'll find a lot of people managing by whims and fancies, personal biases, whims and fancies, ignorance, ego, whatever. Then there is a decision making with due deliberations. That means all the pros, cons, all the right steps which you will learn in MBA are practiced, put through, and then you have decisions. I put this picture basically to indicate that they are all brain functions. Military scenario. Military has a hierarchical structure which is already very clear to you. Our entire duty we have divided into three. First and foremost are the operations, when it's military operations. Okay. They are the teeth and nails, the operational people, the operational systems. If it's an air force, the fighter aircraft, the light combat helicopter or combat helicopters, the missiles, they are the teeth and nails of the organization. There is no room for an error there. I've stayed in the alert state. I have a surface to air defense missile category. During alert, I have not gone back to my mess or room, spent in the action station for 4 months continuously, praying to God that, okay, please send us an F-16 and give me the opportunity to shoot it down. If I bring down one Pakistani F-16, my duty to my country is, discharged, and I shall go home and my soul will be at peace. Anyway, that didn't happen. So that's the way operational people look at. No room for error. Absolutely the action front. Either you shoot him or he shoots you. Like that. Perform or perish, which I mentioned earlier. Then we have, in the second tier, we have the maintenance. And under maintenance, we are supposed to be, closely supporting operations. Like during Kargil war, it was my unit which destroyed the Tiger Hill. If you read about Kargil operations, you will find the aircraft armed with the right weapons were provided by my team, engineering team, and the pilots went and did their job. So Kargil war ended with the busting of the Tiger Hill. Combat worthiness and availability of the teeth and nails when required is ensured by the maintenance team. So this is the second tier you can see. operations, maintenance, and then we have the administration. Everything and anything other than the operations and maintenance fall in this category. All remaining support systems, HR, finance, welfare, logistics, you can carry on. This is how it is. Now, the way these three verticals, sub-verticals are managed may vary a little but in definition and in actual practice also. Now, let us revisit the previous slide in a different way. Management styles, decision-making in military scenario. Management by principles of management is what I mentioned in the previous case. Here we have principles of war. There are 10 principles of war. Not getting into details, but these are etched in our system. So it comes back to you when we are discussing a scenario. Impulsive decision maker in the battlefront, in the operation, is an instinctive decision maker. If I am a fighter pilot, I switched on my radar, I have intercepted an enemy. I have already been authorized because I am already on a mission. That means you can find and shoot. I don't have to check with anybody. And I know my reaction time is all seconds. So he instinctively, all his muscle memory, the reflex, the hard training, years of training that he has undergone, everything comes into play. Like a director was telling me, every body cell is an extension of your brain, and they come into action when the hour of need comes. And this is a clear case. Instinctive decisions. All battles, close battles, are cases of instinctive decision makers. We don't call it impulsive, because impulsive is when you do something without knowledge and without any application of thought. Here it is all well deliberated, but not taking too much time. Like when I was in anti-aircraft missiles, typically after an aircraft is declared hostile, I get something like six seconds to fire my missile. So that is a kind of, in every second matters. And we talk in terms of milliseconds for activities. That is a kind of thing. Management by whims and fancies. In my 33 years, I have found it absent. Because if we don't have the right person in command, we ensure that, okay, he's replaced with the right person in command. So that is why I said that word earlier, everybody in place and place for everybody. We ensure that. That is the way we train and develop people, armed forces. Then decision making with the due deliberations is a common factor here. Now, it is time for me to wrap up. So let me do. Before I do that, management merger. As an officer, I had read this book, The Art of War. It's a small book. A serving soldier will enjoy reading it because it's authored by Sun Tzu. Some people pronounce it as Sun Tzu also. He's a Chinese philosopher. Okay, the Chinese methodology of warfare is still in line with this book. Now, why am I talking about this here? When I started interacting with the corporate world, when I became a part-time civilian, DRDO days, then I went into development for the services. I saw some applicability of this book being practiced in the corporate world also. In this book, wherever you see the word war or battle or a conflict, if you replace it with corporate rivalry or competition, competitive situation, you will find that most of these principles fall into or can be applicable in corporate world also. Then I started, watching leadership styles in the corporate world. I wonder if these people have read this particular book. I felt so. So I'm calling this a management merger point. Reading this book may be of use, not for freshers, because a lot of things may not register, but as you become a practicing manager, maybe 10 years down the line, if you read this book, you will enjoy this. So I feel there is an unstated reference. I am calling it an unstated reference for corporate winners. This book, The Art of War. This is my last slide for talking. Conclusion. The similarities and differences in management are probably self-explanatory the way I spoke. There are a lot of similarities, but there are very clear dissimilarities or differences also in the management styles in the military vis-a-vis civil, because the implications are also different. Decision makers. Decision making in armed forces leads to life or death, directly points to that. Whereas the equivalent in the civil side, okay, it may be gross loss to the company in which you're working, or loss of image, or a temporary setback, damage control you have to do, you have to work around it. But in armed forces, you may not get another chance. That was why I kept the slide there. In war, there is no prize for the runner-up. And the organizational structures are, of course, in line with the objectives of the organization. Armed forces are aligned differently, structured differently. So will be your company or the firm or the organization where you will work. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words. Sir, please.
Go back. Okay. I'll keep it here if there's any question. Have time for that. Yes, one or two questions. If you have no questions, I will ask you questions. I want to do a gap analysis. Because I won't really know what you are expecting from this valedictory message. I came with some thoughts I've shared. Was it aligned? Percentage of alignment, 50%, 60%? Did I scare you by saying something very, very heavy? No. Oh, you're all brave soldiers with Marian uniform today. All right. Okay, that answers my question because I always request a critical feedback. Okay. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Some positive and inspiring thoughts can brighten our day. This function wouldn't be complete without the valuable words of our three eminent persons. We are blessed to have their words of wisdom throughout. First, let me invite Dr. Abraham Joseph, former UN Special Advisor. Sir, kindly delight our day with your valuable words.
Distinguished participants, greetings. I thank the organizing committee for the invitation to address this important international conference through this video link. The theme of this international conference is on challenging technologies and changing paradigm towards sustainability. Distinguished participants, in business, sustainability refers to doing business without negatively impacting the environment, community, or society as a whole. Sustainability in business generally address two main categories: the effect business has on environment and the effect business has on society. The goal of a sustainable business strategy is to make a positive impact on at least one of those areas. When companies fail to assume responsibility, the opposite can happen, leading to issues like environmental degradation, inequality, and social injustice. Sustainable business consider a wide array of environmental, economic, and social factors when making business decisions. These organizations monitor the impact of their operations to ensure that short-term profits don't turn into long-term liabilities. Business sustainability, also known as corporate sustainability, is the management of environmental, social, and financial concerns by a company to ensure responsible, ethical, and ongoing success. In traditional corporate culture, social and environmental concerns are often considered to be in conflict with financial goals. For example, depletion of non-renewable natural resources isn't a sustainable practice. However, because greener alternatives typically require new investments in infrastructure, continued reliance on fossil fuels is the least expensive short-term option for energy usage. In the long run, going green can increase a company's sustainability by reducing its energy costs, carbon footprint, and climate-related business risks. Similarly, investment in socially responsible and ethical practices might initially cost more money but lead to enhanced recruitment, branding, and public relations, and ultimately increased profitability. Friends, I would like now to bring to your attention to the focus of the UN Global Compact. Perhaps some of you may have heard about the UN Global Compact and also about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The multi-year strategy of the UN Global Compact is to drive business awareness and action in support of achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Corporate sustainability starts with a company's value system and a principle-based approach for doing business. The 10 principles of the UN Global Compact are derived from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Labour Organization's Declaration of Fundamental Principles and the Right to Work, the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, and the UN Convention Against Corruption. The Compact never had an intergovernmental mandate, which is an important fact. On 26 June 2000, the Global Compact was launched at the UN headquarters with fewer than 50 signatory businesses. Fast forward to today, the Global Compact now has a membership of more than 23,000 plus companies based in 160 countries, both developed and developing countries, representing nearly every sector and size. Also, there are 500 plus UN Global Compact participants in India. Participants have established more than 80 local networks, and the Global Compact has launched a number of initiatives, such as Principles for Responsible Investments and Caring, that has added considerable corporate power to the sustainable agenda. Today, the UN Global Compact is global because of the individual change agents and norm entrepreneurs who, since the inception, have made the initiative local everywhere. They have embraced universal principles and built local networks, embedding the idea and practices of responsible business in many languages and cultures. But perhaps the biggest change over the period is how businesses have become accepted as stakeholders that can play a part in solving many of the world's challenges. By aligning the company strategy to the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact, companies could contribute on the SDGs as part of the UN Global Compact. Since the adoption of the SDGs in 2016, more and more companies are disclosing how they are impacting their contribution to their achievement. Friends, the UN Global Compact is one of the most important corporate social responsibility initiatives aimed at aligning company strategies and operations with principles that involve human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. Over the last 3 decades, CSR principles have become central in the strategy and operation of many companies. The growth of CSR initiatives is related to a stronger awareness of social and environmental issues in both companies and institutions and across society as well as research. Now it is time for the businesses to take sustainable development goals to the next level. Distinguished participants, I wish to bring your attention to the report of the UN Secretary General's AI Advisory Committee that was issued recently on good governance on AI for humanity. The advisory committee created on artificial intelligence has already made preliminary recommendations on AI governance that tap the benefits of this incredible new technology while mitigating its risks. The report calls for a closer alignment between international norms and how AI is developed and rolled out. I also wish to bring your attention to the Summit of the Future being held during September 2024 session of the United Nations General Assembly. The aim of the summit is twofold: accelerate efforts to meet our existing international commitments and take concrete steps to respond to emerging challenges and opportunities. This will be achieved through an action-oriented outcome document called Pact for the Future. Let me conclude by wishing you all a very productive conference, and also thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and inspirational words. Next, we have Dr. J. Sophie Von Leers, who has received her PhD in clinical psychology from the University of Leipzig, Germany in 2011. Her PhD research was on the psychological effects of the 2004 Asian tsunami and coping strategies of the tsunami survivors in rural Kerala.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to your conference on challenging technologies and changing business paradigm towards sustainability. I will speak a few words about track 3, revolutionary changes in organizational behavior and human resource management. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Dr. Johanna Sophie von Leers, and I'm a psychologist, and I'm originally from Germany, and I did my PhD at the University of Leipzig, Germany, about the psychological consequences and protective factors after the 2004 tsunami in Kerala. Now, I'm working as an assistant professor at the Department of Cognitive Sciences and Psychology under the School of Social and Behavioral Sciences at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham in Amritapuri in Kerala. Unfortunately, mental illness is on the rise in today's world, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is of utmost importance to increase mental health and well-being at the workplace, as this is where adults spend most of their day. This will also increase their productivity, as they will have fewer sick leave days. So first, I want to briefly define what is organizational behavior. It is the study of how individuals, groups, and organizations interact and influence one another. That means how employees behave with each other and with the organization, and how being within the organization influences their behavior. The goal of studying organizational behavior is to find out how to increase productivity while also creating a positive and healthy work environment. It is very important to increase the mental health and mental well-being of employees by creating a positive work culture. So employers need to do the following for their employees. They need to make them feel valued and appreciated. Especially young people nowadays are so used to getting likes on social media that they will also need to get likes, that is, a kind word or praise from their supervisors. Then employers need to increase workplace satisfaction of the employees. So there needs to be a good environment with, for example, good social relationships among the staff and the proper equipment to do the job properly. Then employers also need to encourage the life-work balance. This is an important buzzword. Employees need to be able to both fulfill their family duties at home and their duties at work, and there needs to be a balance between time spent at work and their leisure time to be fresh again and ready to work again the next day. Then employers also need to promote lifelong learning. Employees need to receive ongoing skills training to optimize their performance, and they need to be encouraged to keep learning new things. Now, all this will lead to increased productivity and performance. Human resource management has a very important role in a company. They hire people, train them, appraise their performance, among other things. So this is what human resource management can do to increase the mental well-being of employees. Give employees control over job design and workload. That means let them be autonomous and let them decide how they do their job as much as possible. These techniques, for example. Then HR also needs to create an opportunity for positive relationships. So the HR can minimize tension and conflicts at work by taking the role of a mediator. Then, of course, HR needs to implement policies against harassment and bullying, because obviously any form of harassment and bullying will be detrimental to mental health. Shown that if companies hire persons with disabilities, they can actually make more profit because they actually improve their business image. Also, persons with disabilities have a very good work ethic. They're very dedicated and loyal employees. And altogether, a focus on diversity and inclusion leads to increased job satisfaction. Not only the persons with disabilities benefit, but also everyone in the if times people with disabilities, they need some kind of accommodations, like certain equipment or maybe acquired to workplace, and then also they have lower stress levels. People with ADHD or autism are very creative and innovative. Also, there's less on-the-job conflict if the company focuses on inclusion and diversity. And for example, some IT companies, like for example Auticom UK, specifically hire people with autism to, for example, test computer programs because of their attention to detail and their unique abilities to actually find patterns or identify any anomalies, and also they can focus over extended periods. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I welcome Mr. S. K. Ray, Professor of Law and Management, Maulana Abdul Kalam University, West Bengal. Welcome, sir. We look forward to your inspiring words.
Good morning, all. I'm delighted to speak on a subject which is very close to my heart, that is corporate social responsibility, on which I worked for a substantial time during my workspace. As all of you know, that industry is very important to the society, and business is an extension of the society, and therefore no business can sustain ignoring social values. If you see the history of the world, those companies which have ignored the social values, they are not existing today. Now, it's the society which creates demand, and the business is done on the basis of that demand. That has been defined by Professor Philip Kotler. That is the society which creates demand. Now, the corporates have to balance between people and profit. Unless they make profit, they cannot do CSR work. They cannot take care of the people. Is giving the people, they are part of the society. The environment, which is also a part of the society, that is also shared by the corporate. Many companies in our country, they have done a lot of things. And as we know, that corporates throughout the world, there are two categories. One category, they have created wealth for themselves. They're very rich. They're enjoying the wealthness, but they have not bothered about others. They have not bothered about the poor people and the ordinary people. But the Indian corporate, or maybe corporate throughout the world, they're existing because of the second category of people who are bothered about the citizen in general and the well-being of the citizen in general, privileged person. See, growth of a company means creating and enhancing the wealth of the company, giving a lot of dividend to the shareholders, doing more business. But when you talk of development, it means that this growth is shared with the society, with the poor people. And that is what now we are calling, the government is calling is inclusive growth. You have to grow including the people within you. And there is a principle of concern, care and share. So the corporates should be concerned about the society. Okay. Typical concept which was, buy food and eat himself. But if he continues to eat himself, he doesn't share anybody, some poor boy standing in front of him, this is called Vikriti. Moment he shares, this is called Sanskriti. It means that CSR is not a provision of law. CSR is not a management practice. CSR is a culture of the organization. CSR is value. Values are permanent, unique, and omnipresent. They are present everywhere whenever the people are there. Corporates create value, they inherit value. If you think of some of the Birla's company, Aditya Birla Group, Tata's, they have the values created by their forefathers. They've inherited that value. When you have relationship with other companies, associate company, distributors, supply chain people, the value is transmitted from a good company to a bad company, and this is the concept of value transferable basis, not on a casual basis. Financial support because they increase their reputation and their revenue increases. They've got access to infrastructure and capacity building. They connect to the community and the infrastructure helps to the poor. But the question comes that CSR for whom? It should be for the less privileged class, the segment of the population who do not have access to infrastructure, some of the institutions who support the cause of the poor children, old citizens, needy people suffering from various type of diseases, health related issues. So it should be very clear as to the which segment the corporate is addressing. Have commitment to the society. It's not a one-time commitment. They should have a policy as to what they want to do instead of taking some casual decisions. And they should continuously monitor the projects. That means whatever they are doing, whatever money they're spending, are they going to the beneficiaries or not? And what is the impact of whatever they are doing to the poor people as per their object? There's a object of every project. Are the object being fulfilled? In between the beneficiary and the company, there should be continuity of doing the job. The NGO should have a continuous cash flow. Otherwise, suddenly you find they are going through a project and there's no money. So the project is stalled in between. And ultimately is the effective use of the projects which you are making. That is very important. And that is the ultimate purpose of CSR. Categories, they have to spend 2% of the average net profit of last 3 years. Spending has to be done in the current year. If they cannot spend the money, they have to deposit in a special account which is created by the government. And spending means the various jobs, the various kinds of projects which are listed under Schedule 6 to the Companies Act. It includes almost everything which is a philanthropic job, which is for the benefit of the people.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words. Let's move on to the most awaited time of the day. Awards and achievements are not just symbols of recognition, but also the fuel that keeps us motivated to go forward and do better.
Let us move on to the certificate and award distribution for the best papers. I welcome Group Captain Babu Joseph to honor the awards. First, let me announce the Best Paper Award winners in the Faculty and Research Scholar category. The Best Paper Award goes to Ms. Tania Thomas, Research Scholar, St. Berchmans College, Changanasheri, and Dr. Babu Michael, Professor, St. Berchmans College, Changanasheri. Congratulations, ma'am. Now we have the Best Paper Award in the student category. The Best Paper in Student category award goes to Varsha Nandana, MBA student, Pisat Business School, Angamali, and Biju Yunaya, Research Scholar, Chinmaya Vishwadibam, Ernakulam. They have presented through online and shall receive the certificate to mail. They are also receiving a cash prize of rupees 3,000. Congratulations. Now, the second prize is received by Mr. Joel Matthew, MBA student, Marine Institute of Management, Kutiganam, and Mr. Bipin Xavier, Assistant Professor, Marine Institute of Management, Kutiganam. On behalf of Joel Matthew, Mr. Shiros will be collecting the certificates.
Now it's time to congratulate the people behind this conference. Dr. Josh Jajos, Conference Coordinator. Dr. Arun Shankar, Conference Faculty Coordinator. Mr. Bipin Xavier, Technical Faculty Coordinator. Mr. Alan Phillip, Conference Student Coordinator. Ms. Malta Crystallite, Conference Student Coordinator. Mr. Shivadik T.S., Technical Student Coordinator. Mr. Joel C. Samuel, Conference Student Coordinator. Thank you, sir. I invite Dr. T.V. Murli Vallabhan, sir, to hand over the certificate to Ms. Susanna Oman to receive the certificate for her presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Our MIM presenters and coordinators will be receiving their certificates later.
The person without whom this day wouldn't have been possible. Dr. Joshua Jus, who is a lifelong enthusiast who strives to be the best in every aspect. She is a great motivator and an excellent educator with a research-oriented approach. We wholeheartedly invite our beloved Joshua ma'am for delivering the report of the 9th International Conference.
A warm good afternoon to our respected chief guest and our dear audience. I quote, "A sunset is nothing more and nothing less than a sunrise." Craig D. Lonsberg. I unquote. The duty entrusted with me is to present the report of the International Conference. This is a remarkable journey that started exactly in the month of November 2023 by releasing the brochure of the conference. Today, when we end, a long many precious glitters and gifts remain with us. A total of 76 papers were presented with 200 plus presenters outside and inside our institution. The main institutional collaborators were Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Arab Open University, Lincoln University College, Malaysia, St. Xavier's College, Kathmandu, Nepal. The International Conference 2024 was inaugurated on 1st February 2024. The gracious presence of eminent personalities like Mr. A. Balakrishnan, President of Kerala Management Association, and Executive Director of Georgia Financial Services Limited, Dr. Jolish Kumar, Chairman and Managing Director of Lincoln University, Middle East Regional Office, Dr. G. Sri Kumar Menon, former Director General of National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, Dr. Sherimon PC, Head of the Department Computer Science, Arab Open University, Oman, retired Group Captain Babu Joseph, Independent Director and Technology Consultant, Dr. Abraham Joseph, UN Special Advisor, Special Economic Affairs, Dr. Sophie von Leers, Amrita University, Mr. H.K. Ray, Professor Law and Management, Maulana Abdul Kalam University, enriched the conference with their words of wisdom. We also had eminent support from our director, Dr. T.V. Murali Vallabhan, and Deputy Director, Father Dr. Josh Ticherial. We also had the presence of research scholars, faculty members, students, and other panel members for the success of this conference. We thank all of them wholeheartedly. I thought none of us, including me, ever do great things, but we can do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful by Mother Teresa. I unquote, thank you, and I close the report of the International Conference 2024. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you, ma'am, and we hope you come up with such more conferences. Next, I invite Dr. T.V. Murali Vallabhan to hand over the gift hamper to Group Captain Babu Joseph, sir, as a token of love and gratitude.
Before the vote of thanks, just one sentence. The main message that has been delivered by Group Captain Babu Joseph was that you are all fighters. You are going to fight with the syllabus, you are going to fight with internship, you are going to fight with examinations, and take the message, come out successful in all these fights. Wish you all the best. This is the concluding session, and let our fight be the beginning. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. As we are concluding this day, I would like to invite Ms. Marta Grisalite, one among the student coordinators of this international conference, for delivering her word of thanks.
A very warm good afternoon to one and all present here. As we conclude the 9th International Conference on Challenging Technologies and Changing Business Paradigm towards Sustainability, I'm reminded of the words of Bruce Wilkinson. A moment of gratitude is the difference in your attitude. Today, I'm here to extend a heartfelt gratitude to the individuals who have played pivotal roles in making this event a resounding success. Firstly, a sincere gratitude to the retired Group Captain Babu Joseph, Independent Director and Technology Consultant, for his esteemed presence and enlightening words that remarked us with deepened knowledge through his expertise sharing. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Abraham Joseph, UN Special Advisor, Special Economic Affairs, Technological Innovations, for his words of wisdom that enriched us with insightful thoughts. Thank you, sir. I also thank Dr. J. Sophie von Leers, Amrita University, for delivering us with the insightful session. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my gratitude to Mr. S.K. Ray, Professor Law and Management, Maulana Abdul Kalam University, for his rich words of valuable thoughts. Thank you, sir. I would like to acknowledge the support of Reverend Father Bobby Alex Manamplakal, Manager, Marian College, Kuttikanam. Thank you, Father. I would like to thank Dr. T.V. Murali Vallabhan, Director of Marian Institute of Management, for his leadership and guidance throughout the planning and execution of the conference. Thank you, sir. I would like to express my gratitude to Reverend Father Jose Titterial, Deputy Director, who has always been a support and guidance in everything. Thank you, Father. I'm thankful to Professor Dr. Ajimon George, Principal of Marian College, Kuttikanam, for his support. Thank you, sir. Our sincere thanks to Professor Samson Thomas, Associate Professor at Marian Institute of Management. Sir, your captivating welcome address set the tone for the conference and created a welcoming atmosphere. Thank you, sir. We express our deep appreciation to Mr. A. Balakrishnan, President of Kerala Management Association, Dr. Jyotish Kumar, Chairman and Managing Director of Lincoln University, Dr. G. Sri Kumar Menon, former Director General of the National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, Dr. Sherimun PC, HOD Computer Science, Arab Open University, Oman, for their valuable insights. Their expertise and participation added immense value and contributed significantly to the intellectual discourse. Thank you all. I would like to extend my special thanks to our associated universities, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kerala Arab Open University, Oman, Lincoln University, Malaysia, and St. Xavier College, Nepal, who have extended their support to this conference. I also thank Professor Alex Johnson, Assistant Professor of Marian Institute of Management, for his wonderful words of welcome. Thank you, sir. I am immensely grateful to our faculty coordinators, Dr. Joshija Jose and Dr. Arun Shankar, for their tireless efforts and hard work, which ensured the smooth functioning of the entire conference. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude towards the dedicated internal design committee led by Mr. Bibin Xavier, Assistant Professor, Marian Institute of Management. Thank you, sir. I would like to specially thank Shivajit, Internal Design Coordinator, whose creativity and hard work in designing the conference material, starting from the brochure, posters, till the proceedings publications, which were the key to the professional presentation of the conference. Thank you, Shivajit. I'm extremely grateful for my co-student coordinators, Alan Phillip and Joel C. Samuel, for their countless efforts toward the success of the conference. I thank all the other committee members involved in invitations, registration, certification, photography, technicalities, venue coordination, and hospitality. Your collective efforts have made this conference a success. Last but not the least, I thank all the research scholars, faculties, and students, and the evaluators of the paper presentations. Your participation through paper presentations and active engagement fostered an enriching exchanging of ideas and knowledge. I'm honored to acknowledge the leadership of all the faculties whose vision has shaped and aided a foundation for this memorable event. We deeply appreciate the time, effort, expertise, and unwavering support that each of you contributed to making this conference a resounding success. It has been a remarkable journey, and we are confident that the knowledge shared, connections made, and collaborations forged will have a lasting impact on all involved. I would like to conclude with the wise words of Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Malta. Today is a milestone. It tells you how far you have come. Keep learning, keep trying, keep accomplishing, and keep venturing on through your journey. Thank you all for making this ceremony a great success. Kindly rise for the national anthem.